Hello, Leo. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Leo is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Please hit the like button. Leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. It is totally free. Does not cost you anything. If there's anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Leo, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And Queen of Wands to start us off. Very, very good first card. This is really this is a large stature, right? This is, I think, someone that is kind of done with all the BS, right? This is something I think that we're saying enough is enough. You know, that we are clearly defining our goals, clearly defining not even our goals really, but our feelings. And we're standing up for what we want. Yeah. Let's put this into some context. We need a few cards around this one, right? This is a real boss energy, but it sometimes can have some emotion behind it. Okay. And we've got that emotion. Now interesting. We have a queen and a knight, fire and water. I wonder if there's some kind of I wonder if you're in this I wonder if this is your relationship right now. Well, there's your power card, Leo. Superpower card. We've got another court card now. We've got a Queen of Pentacles. This is interesting now. We've got the Knight of Cups, which is a Cancer energy. We have the Chariot, which is Cancer energy. And we've got a Seven of Swords. I feel like there's some sort of a communication issue. There's some sort of a conflict with you and somebody else. Maybe even a Cancer person. Another court card here. Another court card. An Ace of Wands. And I thought it was going to be another court card. Well, at least we see some harmony at the end here. Right? We've got that Six of Swords at the very end. That is harmony, beauty. That is effective communication, right? It's resonance now. This is discord. This is resonance. Okay? And of course, we want the resonance. We want the harmony. We want things to be resolved in this. We want to get on the same page with this other. Now, it could be, Leo, that these two cards represent two aspects of yourself. That you are wanting two different things. You know, that you kind of, you want this thing, but at the same time you don't, or you want kind of two different paths. It almost feels like there's a split in you. And we see that split here too, with the Cancer on top and the Leo energy down below. So I wonder if there's a conflict within you now about kind of which path to take. And it's kind of, it almost feels like, yes, I want this, but at the same time, I don't. It's almost like I want to get in this relationship. I feel the love here, but at the same time, I don't want to give up my independence. You know? It's kind of like, yes, I want that job, I want to do, but at the same time, I kind of like being my own boss. Yeah. And we have, of course, more. Now, I got to say, with the court cards here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 court cards. This involves more than just you and one other person. This is either you I don't know, joining someone else's family or joining a new job, a new position, a new career kind of thing. Because there's a group of people involved here. I think maybe there is a split with you about what you really want to do, what you feel is right for you to do in this moment. But I feel like it has something to do with more than one other person. All right. Well, it could be that there's a couple different people that we're choosing from. It could be there are a couple different jobs that we're choosing from. And then the third option is really just be my own boss. Maybe I don't want to work for either of you. you know? Because I feel that there's kind of, there's that kind of a split, right? So it feels it feels like it's a fork in the road a bit. Yeah. It feels like we don't really know exactly what we want to do right now. We kind of want that, we kind of don't. Kind of want that over there, kind of don't. Is there a third kind of transcendent option here? Maybe. What we do see with the Queen of Pentacles in the background, though, is that you are trying to look back at the past. This is the card that looks back at the past, too. I think we're trying to trace the thread of our lives to make sense of this, I don't know, this crossroads that we're at. You know, the rest of my life before this, what does it add up to? And can the past help me make a decision right now in the present? Can this recollection of the past, this reassessment of the past, can this help me predict the future? Right? My past performance, does it guarantee, you know, the future kind of returns, right? So, is it that you've kind of always done the same thing? If you look at all of your choices, are they all kind of on the same path? It may be a long and winding road, sure. But is it kind of all the same way? Is there a common thread, common theme through everything? And now, right here in this moment, is it time to continue that thread into the future? Or is it time to say, I'm done with that particular path, and it's time to do something very different, right? You've always had, you know, office jobs or something, and now there's really this opportunity to take a more creative position somewhere, you know. Maybe this is working outside, working inside now, or vice versa, whatever it might be. I feel like it's just kind of like there's been a certain trend in your life, makes you feel like this is me, this is my nature, this is what I've always done, right? We got that Leo energy underneath the surface, and Leo, you're kind of fixed in your way of doing things. You don't like to change how you do things. Now, maybe this is a job, relationship, a family decision. Maybe you're relocating your house. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But I feel that you're stuck in your ways. There's this part of you anyway. Feels like I've always done things this way. This is who I am. And we've been doing it the same way, that we're just making these grooves in our soul. And it's hard to get out of those grooves when we start to think that this is me. Yes, I've always had the same kind of jobs. I've always had driving jobs. Every job I've ever had was a driving job, right? From the time I was a kid, I always had a job where I'd have to drive, you know. And it wasn't until a few years ago that I decided to break with what I thought was me. Like, that's kind of my, this is me, like just the driving stuff. Many different companies I worked for, but every one had something to do with me driving, you know, a lot of warehouse kind of jobs and stuff like that. Until a few years ago, where I made the decision to take a remote job where I worked just at a computer all day. Yeah, my day job. I still do that. It was a big shift, though. It was something that took a lot of, like, I don't want to give up that driving job, because that's where I felt comfortable. That's what I feel was me. When I look back at my history, now I'm getting personal, and I'm sorry for that. When I look back at my path, my history, every decision I ever made, every job I ever took, put me in that kind of position where I could just go out and do my own thing, drive, you know, be my own boss in a way, but just kind of be alone, be with my thoughts, and just be with me on the road, you know. Incidentally, my family were truck drivers too, so I think there's something in the blood there, you know, with that kind of a life, you know. And I felt comfortable there. And that's what I mean with this. This is your power card, right? So I think that you've been very good. You've established that kind of a history for yourself. But now there's this opportunity, there's this draw. You almost feel with this Cancer energy, it almost feels like a pull in a different direction. And you're just thinking, well, wait a minute, what am I supposed to do? Why am I feeling suddenly drawn to this other thing? And for me, a whole series of things happened. I took the job at the computer, and then it allowed me to, of course, move into what I'm doing here. If I wouldn't have done that, I never would have had the thought, the time, the space to start doing a YouTube channel, So this is, I think, for you, a similar thing. I think this is destiny. This is not an accident. This is not just some frivolous choice that you have before you. This is fate, okay? And we may not be able to see exactly what it's going to lead to, but if the universe is pulling you by the collar, right, towards something else, something that takes you out of your usual, takes you out of your trend, it's not an accident, okay? It's not an accident. The universe is pulling your course, pulling your chariot, I think, a different way. And the chariot card, too, is similar in a way to the Leo energy, to the lust or strength card. In this case, it's almost this obligation. And I think sometimes with the chariot card, we feel an obligation to continue doing what we've been doing. It's just kind of like, that must be my place in life. That's what the universe wants me to do. And I'm fulfilling my role. I'm fulfilling my destiny by staying doing the same kind of thing. Yeah. There's an obligation. There's an obedience to what we feel is our destiny and is our fate. So, like illustrated in the Seven of Swords, when something comes to push us off of that course, we fight against it. When you're on the road, you're driving in your lane, but there's a lot of wind, crosswind, right? Trying to push you into the dirt or push you into the other lane of traffic, and you've got to struggle to stay straight, right? But what we realize, I think, in this reading, when we get to the end at least, that this is the wind of change, that this is Spirit trying to push you in a different direction, and we're trying to stay in our lane. We're trying to keep our chariot on the straight and narrow. We're trying to stay on this Ace of Swords here, but this is your fate. Spirit is trying to nudge you off in a different trajectory. Does that make sense? Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. I didn't mean to get on such a personal tangent. I try not to talk about myself too much. There's our mystery card, Alien Simon Moore Ripley right there on top. We're not going to look at that card until the very end, okay? But it will tie everything together and give us our confirmation at the end of the reading. If at any point during the reading you feel like you know what that card is, put your prediction in the comments. All right, I really think we should practice our intuition. Yeah, it makes it a fun kind of interactive experience anyway, so win-win, right? The volunteer card we had happens to be the Six of Pentacles. So we're going to put that right up there. We'll move our Dove and Serpent out of the way. Six of Swords, Six of Pentacles. That is harmony, beauty, success. It's working, it's good, it's the right choice. It's the happiness, the celebration that we did the right thing, we made the right move. So we realize that what feels like a wind trying to push us off the road, we realize that, no, it's pushing us on a better road. It's pushing us where we really actually need to be. So we're fighting against something that's trying to help us, And it's, I think it might have to do with a career change or some kind of big move in your family life or your life path, okay? Let's look around again. We've got, just these two major arcana cards, and both of these are kind of, we could think of them as the same, kind of fixed in this way of doing things, trying to stay in our lane. Or we could look at the chariot as being the one we're trying to stay obedient to what we thought was our life path. But then you've got this creative passion, this surge of energy that's bubbling up within you that's pushing you a different way. So we could look at the wind as coming from outside. Spirit is out there pushing us onto our new path. Or we could look at it as something within us that's we're pulling ourselves by the collar, Something that's driving you from within to make this choice, to go on this other road, take the more scenic route or something, Take the road less traveled. You always take the same path, essentially, right? Now this is saying, let's just get lost. Let's just explore. Let's do something different. Okay? But there's some rejection of it. There's a struggle against it. We feel like it's trying to do harm to us. We feel like it's trying to distract us or blow us off course. But, when you're sailing a ship, you can't fight the wind. The wind wants to blow a different direction. You got no choice but to just move your sail and tack and go with it. Okay? But here's the struggle now with this fire and this water. The fire here, this is the stubbornness. This is us staying where we have always been, doing what we've always been. No, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is my career. This is my expertise. And then the Knight of Cups is saying, I want to go this way. I'm feeling drawn, called, feeling pulled in that direction, somewhere else. And we see it as a conflict. We see it as something that's interfering with our lives. Okay. Moving over to the path of the serpent now, of course, we've got the Knight of Swords. So there's more swords energies here. And that's where we're at. This is the history of the thing. And now we're in this confused state because I think we kind of feel that this was a sudden gust of wind. That suddenly you're just kind of going along your merry way. And then out of nowhere comes this big opportunity to go this way. Suddenly out of nowhere, you feel this push in this other direction. Right? So it feels very, very sudden. And this leads to our immediate reaction. Something's flying at you, your immediate thought is put up your hands, right? Well, this is what we're doing. This is us kind of putting up our defenses when something's flying our way. If something's buzzing around your face, your first instinct is to go like that, It takes real self-control not to try to swat the bees away when the bees are flying. I'm trying to teach my daughter that too. We have a lot of flowers and stuff, and so there's bees in the summertime, and sometimes she starts to panic when a bee comes around, and I try to tell her, look, just be calm, be still. It's going to come around. It's going to realize that you're not the food it wants, and it's going to leave you alone. When we swat at it, that's when we put ourselves in disharmony with nature, and yes, maybe sometimes we get stung by the bee even when we think we're being very zen and, the bee's not going to hurt us, and then it does. Well, whatever, maybe it's a wasp or something. But you get the general idea. We panic, we do that immediate, defensive posture, and it's immediately changing the situation. You're having a conversation or a disagreement with somebody, right? As soon as somebody puts up their hands, it changes. It's no longer a conversation. Now it's the beginning of a fight. It's kind of like that. Anyway, I don't want us to fight. I don't want anybody to fight. All right. But I feel in the environment here, this is what we're talking about. This thing has come quickly, and we're being defensive. We're trying to swat it away. We already have our hands up toward it. Okay? Because I think there's some issue with this Ace of Wands. It's in the position of what you don't want. The wand you don't want. And I think it's here because it's kind of an identity thing. If we've been, well, maybe this one's better to illustrate. If we've been this Queen of Wands doing this thing, and this is who we are. This is how I identify myself. This is what I do. This is who I am. This is what I am. We've established an identity over here. But now, if we're being pushed to this different path, then it's kind of like, who am I? What's my identity? I'm not that person anymore because I'm not doing that stuff anymore. I'm not the truck driver or whatever, If I'm not a truck driver anymore, what am I? What is it that I do? I'm not a computer, data entry person. I'm not a tarot reader on YouTube. What are we? We're not any of these things. Every identity, everything we identify with is a construct. You ever think about how absurd life is? You know, when I put myself outside of myself and I see what I'm doing on the computer, doing the data entry, I got a little headset on, you know, make phone calls, and I'm just doing the data entry stuff, and it just seems so absurd sometimes. And I know I'm doing good work and helping, and I'm trying to be as efficient and productive as I can. But sometimes we can't help but think of how absurd that is. That's not me, you know? And then I think of me. I'm sitting here talking to you, but really, I'm just in a dark room by myself, talking to a piece of plastic in front of me. It feels absurd sometimes. And sometimes these moments are necessary so that we realize that we are not these things. We are not what we do. We are how we do them. We might be why we do them. I'm energy, you're energy, that camera's energy, these lights are energy. But this is not what we are. Yeah. And I think with this too, it's with the ace, it represents that beginning. So it's kind of like, well, now if I'm going to shift over here and do something completely different with my life, I got to start over again. I've got to learn new things. I've got to meet new people. I've got to figure out how I exist in this new groove. We're getting out of this groove of our soul and we're trying to carve a new one, you know. And I think that's the difficult thing in life. We don't usually like change. And when we look at these cards, of course, we have our major arcana. We've got a little bit of fire. We got a little bit of water, quite a bit of air. We got a little bit of earth. We don't have a ton of water, right? This is something that you feel really drawn to for whatever reason. We're compelled. It feels like there's something that's pushing us or pulling us, or we're being urged or motivated in a new direction. And mentally, we're just like, wait, why? I don't understand. I'm not feeling this. It's because we need more water energy. And perhaps as we go through it, we'll start to feel better about it. But the first kind of reassurance is the 6 and the 6, swords and pentacles. You're going to stop arguing with this when you see that it really is successful for you in this financial, physical way, that it's something that is harmonious. And it might be not anything like what you've done before, but that doesn't mean it's bad, right? That doesn't mean it's worse than anything you've done before. It just means it's different. Different could be better, right? Different is scary because it's new, because it's different. But what we're saying here is that different could be better. And I think in this case it is. Now I want to do one thing. I want to do a Language of Flowers affirmation card for all of this air energy. I feel like we need some kind of reassurance. We need some kind of a positive, affirming mantra. And what we've got is the Peruvian Lily Strength, which is the name of your power card. So isn't that rather perfect? The Peruvian Lily Strength. More effort will get you what you want. You're not a stranger to effort. So why not put that effort into this new path? The same effort that you put into doing this stuff, let's put that effort into something new. And yes, new is scary, new is different, new is new. But you've got the strength to do it because at one time all this was new too. Now it's familiar. Let's put all that strength into this, and I bet you that this new path is going to be even better. It's going to bring you even closer to what you want. This is not an accident. This is not just a distraction. This is not something that's trying to throw you off course. This is Spirit trying to put you on the right course. The new course, perhaps different course. Maybe it's just a big change. It's a big turn, in your course. Let's look at the mystery card. I bet it'll be some water energy. Yeah. I'm thinking water. I'm thinking a 9 or a 10. of Cups, right? That sounds pretty nice. Maybe a 6 to go with our other 6s. If you have a prediction, I want you to put it down in the comments. I'll give you a moment. I'll let you look at the cards here. I want you to use your intuition. I think we need that water energy. Let's see what we've got. Oh, indeed, we've got the Star. Of course. The Star is your fate. The Star is your destiny. The Star is spirit, kind of like we're driving, and suddenly the road in front of us goes black. And then a new path kind of lights up this way. We think, well, okay, I better go this way. Spirit is lighting up the pathway for you. But we're kind of saying, oh, what's that distracting light over there? I'm trying to see what's over here in front of me. You know, it's silly. We're silly sometimes. It makes it seem obvious. You know? Makes it seem obvious. And this is that spiritual water. This is that Star. This is the Aquarius energy. Aquarius is an air sign. But it's that weird air that's kind of like water. It's that spiritual water, you know? And I think that this really confirms that this is your fate, and this is Spirit illuminating the right path for you. You know, kind of like we're flying a plane here, and it's like we're on, you know, these visual flight rules, and we can't see any lights in front of us anymore. We can't see the runway to land, but then we see these lights kind of going off this way. Well, you better go that way. You know, that's Spirit saying, the way, the path that you've been on, the trajectory that you've been on is not the right one anymore, for whatever reason. A new path it's a detour. It's perhaps a very important detour. But we can't reject it and just say, no, I'm staying here. We've got to heed this change. All right. Now let's do an extended reading. And if you want to watch the extended, click on the link up here, or there's one down below. New readings for Leo every Tuesday and Saturday, 6 a.m. Chicago time. I'm here every day. You can come back and see me again tomorrow. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It is totally free. It doesn't cost anything. Leave a comment for me. Let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you, and I love you, and we're all in this together.